In previous episodes, we saw Dokja confronts his mother, who once wrote a best-selling essay while in prison for killing his abusive father. She dismisses his beloved story as trash, which enrages him, but she claims that same story helped her survive. As they clash emotionally, Dokja sees her trying to play the role of a mother too late. They both use lie detection skills, confirming distrust and deep scars between them. Later, Dokja opens up to Sangha about his tragic past, but suddenly laughs it off as a lie, though it clearly affects him. The group prepares for the next scenario, but an emergency changes the number of participants. Dokja enters with Shin, facing weak monsters, realizing something isn't right. They emerge from the forest to find an army waiting, hinting at a major battle to come. Shin shouts at Dokja, saying that the people here are so small. Dokja tells her that they must be the residents of this world. Shin says, "Don't tell me that we have to fight them." Shin looks down on the ground and says that they are so small. The system notifies them that they have encountered residents from other worlds and checks the content of the scenario. Suddenly, Dokja and Shin are surprised to see that someone has started crushing the soldiers under their feet. A soldier shouts that catastrophes have appeared on the other side too, and the soldiers start running in panic. A soldier shouts at everyone to retreat, and a person with red hair and another with an axe start crushing the soldiers. Dokja grabs Shin her mouth and hides behind a tree. The person holding the axe says that this scenario is a joke. Another person arrives from behind and says, Mano. Wait, he says that they shouldn't kill them. He asks if he forgot what Asumi told them. Amano asks Michio if he is still going on about Asumi, when it has been that long since they have lost contact with them. Michio is wearing glasses and is wielding a sword. Amano tells Michio that he knows what scenario this is, so this isn't the time to think about the morality of their actions and not forget what has become of them. Shin is worried and asks what this scenario is supposed to be. Dokja looks at her and thinks that he knows all this time why you didn't want to bring Shin. If one thinks about it, you is probably more human than him. Dokja tells Shin that the star stream doesn't host its scenarios on just Earth. This scenario involves the residents of the other world too. The system notifies that many constellations are starved for blood and violence, and many constellations are egging him on to make a decision. The system activates the main scenario. Number 6, the abandoned world. The category is main, and the difficulty is clear conditions are to drive the ruling species of planet Peaceland of the 19,781 planetary system to extinction. The time limit is 40 days, and the rewards are 200,000 coins and something unknown. There is no penalty for failure. Shin is shocked to see that the little soldiers are being brutally killed. Dokja thinks that in the 6th scenario, they are no longer tasked with stopping the catastrophe, but they must become the catastrophe that destroys this world. A soldier flies near Dokja. He is beating and says, "Please have mercy on them." Great catastrophe. The system notifies Dokja that he has become the catastrophe for the planet. Peaceland, the soldier grabs Dokja's finger with his hand. The system notifies Dokja to carry out his mission as a catastrophe. The countries currently participating in the scenario are Japan and Korea. Shin asks if they created this scenario too, right? The mid-grade Dokabi, she sees a Dokabi smiling in the air. Dokabi Ganel says that the 3rd team to arrive from Japan Dome is going all out from the start. Ganel tells them that he hopes they'll be able to earn many coins here in Peaceland. Amano says that it is too easy. It is just like the people ahead of them told them it would be. Amano asks Mariyama whose side he will take. He replies that of course he will go with the leader. Dokja remembers that the leader is a nickname that's given to a powerful person in TW. S.A. Dokja thinks that he has a good idea of what Japan's situation is like for this round. But it is strange, no matter how strong the leader is, the strongest person in Japan would be. Isumi Michio says that the king of Japan is Isumi, and he asks Amano and Marama if they have forgotten that Dokja thinks that Japan's most powerful incarnation, and the occupier of the ruler's throne is Isumi Hiroki Dokja, wonders if they will join a different group when Isumi is still alive. Amano tells Michio that he must have heard the rumors at the same time. The system notifies them that some constellations wish to see them. Crush 10 small men in one step, Amano excitedly starts running and says, "Leave it to him." Michio comes in front of him and tells him to stop right there. He asks if they haven't killed enough already, and he tells them that Isumi or Ren will be upset if they see them do something like that. Amano tells Michio to move side and says that he is annoying the constellations. Michio pulls out his sword, and Amano asks if he is insane and if he is going to fight them. Because of those little insects, Marama tells him not to get ahead of himself. Dokja is surprised to see that Michio is risking his life to save them. He wonders if he knows him and activates the skill character profile. The system notifies that Dokja doesn't have any significant information on the target character, and it is now converting to character summary. His full name is Mish Uji. He has no supporting constellation. One constellation is currently interested in this incarnation. Personal attributes are a righteous coward. Overall stats show that the stamina level is 25, strength level is 24, agility level is 30, and mana level is 23. Overall evaluation shows that this character's overall stats are way below average, and it is a wonder how he managed to survive up to this point. Dokja is surprised to see that, and Amano tells Michio that he can come at them if he wants, but he shouldn't forget that neither Isumi nor Ren is here to save him. Michio is trembling with fear. Suddenly, Michio stops trembling and lowers his sword. Shin asks why that man stopped all of a sudden and if he is scared. Amano and Marama start grinning, and Marama pats Michio on the shoulder saying, "Let's get started, Amano." Amano replies, "Sure," and they start obliterating the small soldiers. Shin is furious and about to attack them, but Dokja stops her, grabbing her shoulder and telling her to look. The small soldier is wearing armor and is holding a sword in his hand. Shin says that the little person seems different, and Dokja says that they are not all weak just because they are small. The little soldier jumps on Amano's axe and attacks his arm. Amano starts bleeding and punches the little soldier down. The rest of the little soldiers say that the catastrophe is bleeding and they can take them down. They start attacking again with all of their might. Some soldiers are climbing on Marama, and he says, "Get lost, you puny insects." Shin says the little soldiers might have a chance at winning after all. The system notifies that the little constellation of the little planet is cheering for the incarnation Galenium, and the little constellation of the little planet has gifted 10 coins to the incarnation Galenium. A soldier is helping Galenium stand up. At the same time, the Dokkaebi appears again and says that this is turning out quite interesting. It is the little hope they have that makes their story even more touching. That being said, he will now remove some penalties that the catastrophes had been under. He says those people who have chosen the way of the catastrophe can now use additional buffs, so please refer to their stat windows. The system notifies them that the contract of plausibility binding the catastrophes has been partly removed. Amano and Marama start grinning. Amano asks if this could get any better. They've just made things boring for them. The system notifies that the catastrophes can now be in tune with their supporting constellations to a greater level. The fines that may occur due to plausibility errors will be covered by the star stream. There are torn limbs and dead bodies of the little soldiers everywhere. The system notifies that a few constellations are happy with the massacre that's taking place. The system notifies that the little constellation of the little planet is in tremendous pain, and a minority of constellations want to see the limbs of the insolent incarnation Galenium torn apart from his body. Amano is holding Galenium in his hand. He starts laughing and says if that's what they want, then he will tear his limbs apart. He starts pulling his arm, and Galenium starts screaming. The system notifies that the constellation of the little planet is writhing in pain, begging for them to stop. Shin clenches her teeth and tells Dokja that she can't let them get away with this. Dokja tells her that if they end up fighting with them, then the scenario will become much harder. She says that they can still clear it, though. Dokja is surprised to hear that and says that is right. Shin says that she will do it. The system notifies that the penalties lifted from the catastrophes have now returned. Amano asks if the buff has ended just now. Suddenly, there's a blast behind them, and Galenium slips out of Amano's grasp. He asks, "What the hell was that just now, and who's there?" Dokja moves at incredible speed and grabs Galenium. The system notifies Dokja that the star stream has detected an anomaly in his actions, and there's a warning for Dokja to take caution and not to make enemies of fellow catastrophes. Dokja puts Galenium down as he looks in pain and starts coughing. The system notifies Dokja that the little constellation of the little planet has noticed his presence and is looking at him with a pitiful look. The system notifies Dokja that the little planet's constellation is expecting a show of compassion from him. The system notifies that the constellation of the little planet has become hopeful because of his appearance and has gifted him 10 coins. Dokja returns the 10 coins gifted to him and tells the constellation that if he indeed cares about his planet, then don't ever do that again. If they don't want their planet to fall prey to their stories, the little constellation of the little planet is flustered and blushes. The system warns Dokja again to take caution, not to make enemies of the catastrophes. Dokja brings out an invisibility cloak and starts wearing it. Shin pulls out a dagger and tells Dokja that she will do it this time. She says that she can take on both of them. Dokja thinks that if he kills them now, then he will be put under a penalty that might end up ruining his plans for the scenario. Dokja thinks that he has a lot of things to do in a peaceful land. He needs to clear the scenario and also hunt down the serpent as Pani requested. Dokja thinks that if Shin can deal with the two of them, and if he can just delay the penalty, then the chances of their survival will increase drastically. Dokja tells her not to drag this on for too long and to be as quick as she can. Shin nods her head and says, "Leave it to me." She starts running towards the catastrophes and cuts them both. Amano asks who that is. Shin is furious as she glares at them. Amano looks at Shin and says that it is just a kid he has never seen before. He asks if she is from the Korean Dome. Marama says that he has heard that people from Korea might be joining them, and he guesses it is true. Shin is silently looking at them. Dokja is standing near her, wearing the cloak of invisibility. He thinks that Shin doesn't have interpretation skills. She mustn't understand them since they are speaking in Japanese. Marama tells Shin to move aside, and Amano tells her that they don't need to fight each other. Shin isn't replying to them, and she's holding a dagger in her hand. Amano says this isn't good. They were in the middle of a bounty scenario, and his supporting constellation was telling him to just get rid of her. Amano and Marama look at each other and say, maybe it won't be too difficult since there are two of them, and Korea has only just joined the scenario. They ask Shin if she has forgotten who joined from their side in the first and second group. Dokja thinks that the early starters were the White Demon King, Isami Hiroki, and his men, and no matter what country it was, the top participants always arrive first. The little soldiers look up at Shin and wonder what is going on. The little constellation of the little planet is moved by the incarnation Shin, and she has gifted 10 coins to Shin. The system notifies that Shin has unlocked a new possibility in the scenario. A select few constellations have evaluated the incarnation Shin positively, and a select few constellations have started cheering for the incarnation Shin. The Dokja says that the incarnations from Japan seem to believe that they might be at a disadvantage, but do they really think that's the case? Amano says that, come to think of it, she was the one who attacked them first. Marama says that she doesn't seem to be aware of the penalties in place right now. He says whether it's Japan or Korea, all the people who entered first must be idiots. A fire starts burning on his hands, and Amano is wielding his axe. He tells Shin that they're not going to go easy on her, just because she's a little kid. Amano attacks Shin using his axe. She jumps to avoid the attack, and Marama attacks her in the air using his fire, saying that she can't keep running. Shin pulls herself to the forest using a rope, leaving everyone surprised. Dokja thinks that it is a spider web, and that the dagger and rope mean that S must have trained her a little. Amano and Marama start looking for her. Dokja activates the skill character profile, and the system notifies them that it is activating the character summary instead. Dokja says that the one with red hair is Marama Kishi. His supporting constellation is a fox with two tails, and his personal attribute is an attention seeker. The other one with an axe is Amano Goro. His supporting constellation is a 100-year-old turtle, and his personal attributes are strong and bald. Dokja thinks that the sum of their overall stats seems to be above average, but they are still no match for Shin. What worries him is their supporting constellations. Dokja thinks that if they are part of Japan's third wave of participants, then they are probably not a force to be reckoned with. But most of Japan's powerful incarnations have either a samurai or a swordsman as their supporting constellation. But both of them have monsters of fable as supporting constellations. Amano and Marama are looking for Shin in the forest. The system notifies them that the constellation Fox with Two Tails is displeased with the current display of hypocrisy, and the constellation who used to be monsters is expressing their hostility against the incarnation Shin. Suddenly, Shin starts slashing them from all sides. Amano is angry and asks where she is. Marama tells him not to lose his cool and that he will take care of her. He grabs a web and sets it on fire. Shin is trapped in a circle of fire, and Amano moves towards her to kill her. But at the same time, wolves appear from behind and pounce upon him. The system notifies that the incarnation Shin has activated the skill. Advanced Interspecies Communications Level 3. Marama is shocked to see that she's a tamer. The system notifies that a few constellations are impressed how composed the incarnation Shin was. Dokja is also surprised and thinks that he didn't see this coming at all. She sure is a beast lord in the making. Dokja thinks that she managed to tame all those wolves in that short amount of time. Suddenly, Shin feels some stage lightning. The system notifies that the star stream detected an irregularity in the actions of the incarnation Shin, and the star stream has sensed hostility being aimed at a fellow catastrophe. The wolves stop eating Mono and start leaving. Marama starts laughing and says he knew this would happen. The system notifies that incarnation Shin will now be under a level 1 scenario penalty, and Dokja thinks that she dragged this out for too long. The system notifies that the incarnation Shin's total body mass has decreased and her overall stats have decreased. Mara attacks Shin using his fire, and Dokja jumps in front and takes the attack. He thinks that he should jump in and finish this. Shin shouts at Dokja to let her be the one to finish this. Dokja wonders what is driving this CDD to do such a thing. The system notifies that Shin will now be under a level 2 scenario penalty. Dokja thinks that one thing he knows for sure is that this is her battle and she needs to fight it alone. Shin picks up her dagger and starts charging towards Marama. She jumps in the air, launches herself at Marama, and cuts his back. Marama starts being and says that she'll regret this. The system notifies that the incarnation Shin has defeated the catastrophe that is yet to be named, and Marama falls to the ground. The system notifies that the main contributor is Shin. Thanks for watching. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated. And hey, drop a comment if you have thoughts or new ideas or just want to say hi. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay awesome.